Hi and welcome to Melissa Ingalls Yoga. My name is Melissa and today's class we're going to focus on opening the shoulders, the upper back and the chest, and we're also going to incorporate this into a really nice flow class, so we're starting to get into the hips a little bit as well and into the legs. I hope you enjoy it. Let's get started. We're going to get started just in a comfortable seated position, so just come down onto your mat. Cross-legged seat, it might be easy Sukhasana, seated pose, one foot in front of the other. You might sit on a block, maybe a lotus, half lotus, however you feel comfortable sitting. And then roll the shoulders up, back and down, away from the ears. Find lift and length and elongation into the spine. And tuck your chin slightly towards your chest, but creating length into the back of the neck. Just softly start to close the eyes and start to settle in. And start to bring yourself into the present moment. And just start to bring your awareness to your breath. The inhales and the exhales. And the inhales moving through the nose and the exhales out through the nose. And just notice where you are naturally breathing today. So that might be up into the ribs, into the lungs, it might be into the lower belly. And just notice that. And on your next inhale, start to allow the breath to move deeper into the body, filling up the lungs, the front ribs, the side ribs, and the back ribs. And allow the breath to move into the shoulders, and allow the shoulders to release and relax as you exhale. Notice if you have some tension or tightness into the chest, into the shoulders. And with the breath, we can just start to open these spaces, but also release some stress. Normally when we're feeling a little bit stressed, we can hold a lot of tension in our shoulders. So really allow the breath to soften. And let's take 2 more breaths. Big full inhale through the nose, filling up. And big exhale, release. And last breath, if you're aware of your Ujjayi breathing, really start to bring your awareness to the oceanic sounding breath. One last big inhale through the nose. Make this the biggest breath of your day so far and hold the breath at the top for 1, 2, 3, and then exhale, let it go. And slowly start to open through the eyes. Notice if your posture has collapsed. And from here, we're going to go for some half neck circles. So drop the ear over towards the left shoulder. So ear moves over towards the left shoulder. You might keep the right arm onto the knee. Maybe you extend the arm all the way out. And just breathing, we're starting to feel a stretch into the side of the neck and starting to get into the shoulders. Then as you exhale, start to bring the chin towards the chest. And then roll the head all the way over towards the right side. And this time feeling a stretch through the left side, the right ear towards the right shoulder. Maybe extending the arm out. Just breathing. One last breath. And then slowly rolling all the way over to the opposite side and just go through a few rounds of half neck rolls on your own, in your own time, but staying with the breath. And allow these neck rolls to become a little bit bigger. And then slowly, slowly, just come back to center. And planting the hands onto the knees. Inhale, we'll lean back, start to lift up through the chest. The gaze lifts up towards the sky. Exhale, pressing the hands into the knees and rounding into the spine. Imagine you're hugging a big beach ball. Inhale, lifting it upwards through the chest, the gaze lifts high. And exhale, rounding into the spine. Let's go for 3 more rounds. It's almost like our cat and our cow pose. Inhale, lengthening, lifting. And exhale, rounding. 2 more. Inhale, find lift, lengthen, space. And exhale, contracting, hugging everything into center, spreading through the shoulder blades. Inhale, finding a lift. And exhale, rounding. Just hold here for a moment. Interlacing the fingers out in front of you and just curl through the spine. Breathing into the shoulder blades, breathing into the middle of the back and back of the neck. 1 last breath. And then inhale, slowly reaching the arms all the way up to the sky. And find a lot more length. And then exhale, just release the arms all the way down to the side, really nice. Let's take our right arm underneath our left, so taking the arms out to the side. You might kind of give yourself a little bit of a hug, and this might feel enough for you in the shoulders. Or maybe taking the right arm underneath the left, we'll wrap up for eagle arms. So you might take the backs of the hands to touch. You might take palms of the hands to touch, and then extend up through the elbows, drop the shoulders away. Maybe staying here, or inhale, lengthen. Exhale, you might start to fold forward, and this will give you a deeper stretch into the shoulders. It also starts to allow us to get into the hips, allowing the weight of your arms to move down towards the earth. 1 last breath. And slowly inhale, rising all the way back up. Releasing the arms. We'll go for the opposite side. Left arm underneath right, wrapping up eagle arms. Whatever variation you chose on the opposite side. And take the elbows towards the ceiling. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. Maybe staying here, just breathing into the shoulders, breathing into the stretch, or inhale. And exhale, fold. Just noticing the weight of the arms, noticing the hips, and if you need to ease out the pose, please do. We're trying to lift up through the chest rather than compressing and rounding into the spine. Slowly on your next inhale, rise all the way back up. And exhale, just releasing the arms, just roll the shoulders a little bit. And then from here, interlace the fingers back behind you, lift upwards through the chest. And breathe, so we're getting even more space into the chest, into the shoulders. I know that my right shoulder feels incredibly tight today, so just notice if you have one shoulder that's a lot tighter than the other. And eventually, with the breath and with regular yoga practice, we can start to bring our bodies into further balance. 1 last inhale. And exhale, slowly releasing. We'll come onto our hands and our knees. And take your knees directly underneath your hips. Take your hands directly underneath the shoulders. Connecting into your core, connecting into your center. 1 solid long line. We'll go for a few rounds of cat and cow. So inhale, start to lift upwards through the chest. The heart is moving through the gates of the arms as the tailbone lifts high. The shoulders drop away from the ears. Exhale, pressing the floor away, rounding into the spine. Take 4 more rounds of cat and cow. Inhale, finding length and space. 1 breath per movement. Exhale, rounding into the spine. 3 more rounds. Inhale. And exhale. 2 more rounds. Inhale, go at your own pace. If you wish, it's your body, it's your practice, so really listen to what you need. Exhale, round into the spine. Inhale, find lift, length and space. And exhale, press the floor away, rounding. Slowly, slowly coming back to center. We'll tuck the toes under, lift the knees off the mat, and start to send the hips all the way up and back, coming into our first downward facing dog. So taking your feet hips width distance apart, spreading through the hands, the fingers, planting down through all 10 knuckles, especially the index finger and the thumb. Relaxing the head, shaking the head yes, shaking the head no. You might pedal out through the feet, bending 1 leg, straightening out through the other. And we want a leg's length distance between the palms of the hands and the feet. In connection to core, slight tuck of the tailbone. And breathing, take one big inhale, one big exhale, finding some stillness if you haven't done already. And then look forward in between the hands and slowly we'll step the feet to the front of the mat. Take your feet hip-width distance apart. Inhale, lengthen into the spine. And exhale, fold forward. You might take hold of opposite elbows and just hang the torso heavy, hang the torso loose. Maybe swaying a little bit from side to side, slight bend into the knees. One last breath. And slowly inhale, lengthen into the spine. Exhale, planting the hands onto the hips, slight bend into the knees. And we'll roll up, maybe taking your hands over your head and tucking the chin towards the chest and roll up vertebrae by vertebrae into standing. You should get a really nice stretch through the upper back, the shoulders, as you come to that standing position in the front of the mat, Tadasana. Allow the arms to rest by the side, allow the toes to touch, heels slightly apart, hands move through heart center. Closing off the eyes, noticing your stability, notice your stance, notice your balance, notice your posture, and most importantly, notice your breath. Take a big full inhale through the nose, and big full exhale. Whenever you're ready, setting a personal intention for your practice today. It might be finding a little bit more space where you were once stuck. Maybe finding a little bit more openness into the shoulders, the chest, focusing on the breath, wherever you wish. And take one last big breath in through the nose, just sealing and setting your intention. And then exhale, let it manifest so it can grow. And slowly opening through the eyes. Allow the arms to be either side of the body, palms facing forward. On your next inhale, reach both arms all the way up to the sky. We'll go for a few rounds, sun salutation A. Exhale, folding forward, hands move through heart center, relaxing the head. Inhale, lengthen into the spine, hands onto the shins or onto the mat. Exhale, planting the hands, stepping or hopping back, high plank. Exhale, first chaturanga, so feel free to bend the knees or roll all the way down. Maybe you hover. Inhale, start to lift up into a cobra. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, allow the heart to move forward. And then exhale, send the hips towards the heels and the hips all the way up to the sky. We'll come back to our downward facing dog. 3 breaths, full inhale. Exhale, 1. And 2 more breaths, inhale. Exhale, 2. One last breath. Notice if you feel like you're collapsing into the shoulders in this pose, roll the shoulders away from the ears. And then look forward in between the hands, step or hop with the feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, lengthen into the spine, find space. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach both arms all the way up to the sky. And exhale, hands back through heart. 2 more rounds. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, folding over the legs, a little bit more energy. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, planting the hands, stepping or hopping back, high plank, knees or not, lower all the way down, chaturanga. Inhale, lift up, cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, 1 last breath. Feel the inner thighs spiraling in towards each other as you release and relax the head down towards the earth. Hips are the highest point of the pose. Elongation through the right and left side body. Look forward in between the hands. We'll step or hop with the feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, fold. Inhale, reach both arms all the way up to the sky. And exhale, hands back through heart. Final round. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold over the legs, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, planting the hands, stepping or hopping back, high plank. Exhale takes you into your chaturanga. The inhale lifts you into your upward facing dog. Maybe lift the thighs off the mat. And the exhale and takes you back to your downward facing dog. Notice if you need to widen or shorten your stance in this downward facing dog. Notice if you have a little bit more space than you did at the very beginning of practice. Notice the breath. Take one last inhale. Exhale, look forward between the hands or step or hop the feet to the front. Inhale, lengthen into the spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. And exhale, hands back through heart center. We'll go for a sun salutation B variation, starting to get into the shoulders in our warrior one pose. So take your toes to touch heels slightly apart, bending into the knees. Start to extend the arms all the way alongside the ears, or hands through heart center, completely up to you. Extending the arms coming into chair. Let's take 2 breaths. Inhale. Exhale, notice the fire that's building in the core, in the center, in the legs. One last breath. Inhale. And exhale, fold it forward. Inhale, lengthen into the spine. Exhale, planting the hands down, stepping back. Feel free to skip a vinyasa whenever you need to and head straight back to a downward facing dog or low plank chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Squeeze those elbows in, lift the chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. Feel free to stay in this downward facing dog or pressing firmly through that left foot, not collapsing into the left shoulder, pressing firmly into the right hand. Start to extend that right leg all the way up to the sky, coming into a 3-leg dog. Take a big inhale, lift the leg a little higher. Exhale, rounding knee towards nose, step that foot all the way through in between the hands. You might step it halfway, give it a nudge, then step it all the way. Notice the knee over the ankle. Squeeze those inner thighs together, drop that back heel down towards the floor. And inhale, we'll start to rise up for a warrior one. If you notice that that back heel wants to lift off the mat, maybe shorten your stance. Hands move through heart or arms reach up towards the sky. Take 2 breaths, full inhale. Exhale. One last breath, just settling in. Then slowly interlace the fingers back behind you. Inhale, start to lift upwards, squeeze the shoulders together. Feel free to stay here, just opening on, noticing and opening through the center of the chest and also into the back, the upper back. You might come into a humble warrior, folding inside of that right leg. Maybe the arms reach all the way up and over. Notice if that right hip wants to sneak out to the side, keep it hugging in towards the left. And notice if you're more flexible, you might easily just drop the head down towards the mat. We want to find a bit of balance in this pose, so keep the head hovering and reach the arms up and overhead. One last breath. Inhale slowly, as if someone's taking you from your hands, we rise all the way back up. Releasing the arms, sweep the arms all the way up to the sky. Exhale, planting the hands down, tucking the back toes under, stepping back high, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a big breath in. Big breath out. Feel free to stay downward facing dog if you did that on the other side. Or inhale, left leg reaches up towards the sky. Press firmly into hands, allow that right heel to drop further down towards the earth. As you exhale, rounding knee to nose, step the foot all the way through. Drop that back heel down. Warrior one is where we are heading. So bending into the front knee, making sure it's not going over the ankle. Hands move through heart or arms reach up towards the sky. Breathe 2 more breaths. Inhale. And exhale. One last breath, releasing and relaxing the shoulders. And then slowly sweep the arms back behind you. See if you can take the other thumb on top, interlacing the fingers in the opposite way, if you remember what you did before. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Inhale, start to lift up through the chest. Maybe staying here, engaging, connecting into a core. We don't want to dump any weight into the lower back. And then as you exhale, folding forward. You might fold inside of that left foot and the arms reach all the way up and overhead. If you're more flexible in your shoulders, don't really dump and collapse into this pose. And if you're slightly like me, you have a slight hyperextension into your elbows, just a slight bend into the elbows to protect that joint. One last inhale. Exhale. Slowly inhale, arms reach all the way back up to the sky. We release the arms. As you exhale, planting the hands down onto the floor, stepping back, high plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Let's take 3 breaths. Full inhale. Full exhale. Remember, child's pose is always an option whenever you need it. One last breath. Look forward in between the hands. We'll step or hop the feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, find length and space into the spine. Exhale, fold forward. Bending into the knees, inhale, reach the arms all the way up to the sky, chair pose. Hold, take one last breath. And straighten out through the legs, exhale, hands back through heart. I'm going to add on our warrior sequence, so bending into the knees, inhale, reach the arms all the way up to the sky, chair. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, lengthen into the spine. Exhale, planting the hands down, stepping back or hopping back, either to a downward facing dog or heading through Vinyasa, lowering chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, the right leg reaches up to the sky. Exhale, rounding knee to nose, step the foot all the way through, drop that back heel down. Virabhadrasana 1, inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, interlace the fingers back behind you. Inhale, lift up through the chest, maybe staying here. Or exhale, humble warrior. Breathe, smile. Notice the openness into the shoulders. Inhale, release the arms, reach the arms all the way up to the sky. As you exhale, spin on the ball of that back foot, turn the hips, the shoulders towards the side. Maybe elongate and lengthen through your stance, warrior 2. Gazes forward over the front middle finger. Let's take 3 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale, 1. And 2. 1 final breath. And then flip the front palm up to the sky. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Nothing changes into the legs. We keep that bend into the front knee as the right arm reaches up to the sky, relaxing the fingers. And exhale, let's take a side angle, taking the elbow onto the knee. Inhale, left arm either up to the sky or it reaches all the way up and over by the ear. Keep rooting down through the knife edge, the pinky toe edge of that back foot. 1 last breath. And gaze down towards the floor. Inhale, start to rise all the way back up to center. We'll straighten out through the front leg. Extend through the right arm, placing the right hand down either under the shin. Maybe it's the ankle, maybe it's the floor, maybe it's a block. We're heading for our triangle pose. Notice if that right hip wants to sneak back behind you, keep it in line with the left. Maybe flip that arm back behind you. The left arm might come onto the lower back, maybe towards the right hip, or you see if you can take a half bind coming into that right inner thigh. And then really rotate that left shoulder up towards the ceiling. 1 last inhale. 1 last exhale. Slowly gaze down towards the mat. Inhale, start to rise all the way up to center. We're going to go for a little shoulder variation, and I'm going to give you a few options, and it's probably good that I am not facing you right now so you can see what I am doing. But we're going to take our left arm underneath and maybe keep it at the lower back. You might interlace the fingers. Squeeze that right elbow back behind you. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, and this is our option number 1. So just lifting upwards through the chest. Option number 2 is bending into the left elbow. See if you can take that left hand up towards top of the neck. And you might even take that right hand and nudge that left elbow slightly closer in towards center line. Right arm reaches up to the sky, and you might go for a bind. You might just work with going for the bind, or you might have the bind in your practice. And the hair's getting in the way. And then maybe interlace the fingers. From here, bending into the front knee, twist and turn the chest towards the side, power through that back foot, and we're coming into a warrior 3 with this bind. It is tricky. So just breathing, and notice if you wobble or fall, or notice if you want to take the hands down to the floor, you're absolutely welcome to. One last breath. Slowly bending into the right knee, releasing the arms, come up to standing and catch that knee into the chest. Bending into the right knee, place that left knee on top of the right knee. Hands might stay through heart center, or you take the right arm underneath the left and you wrap up for those eagle arms that we saw earlier. Maybe staying here or perching the eagle, you might cross the legs. And the tendency is for the hips to swing out to one side, the knees to the other. Keep everything in one center line. Slowly, slowly releasing the pose as gracefully as you came into it and as mindfully as you came into it. Releasing the arms, extend the leg and place it down. Shake out the legs. Hands through heart center, closing off the eyes. Take a big breath in. Big breath out. Let's go for our warrior sequence on the opposite side, ending in our eagle pose. So slowly extending the arms all the way up to the sky, bending into the knees, we'll come back into our chair pose. Take a breath. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen and lift into the spine. Exhale, planting the hands, stepping or hopping back, high plank. Exhale, chaturanga, going for a vinyasa if you wish. Inhale, lifting upwards through the chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. Big breath in. And a big breath out. Inhale, the left leg reaches up to the sky. 3-leg dog. Exhale, rounding knee to nose. Step the foot all the way through in between the hands. Drop that back heel down. We'll rise up into our warrior 1 first. Inhale, both arms reach up to the sky. Exhale, sweep the arms back behind you, interlacing the fingers. Inhale, start to lift up through the chest, maybe staying here, or exhale, humble warrior. Really allow, almost as if we were doing that cow and cat pose, the cat and cow pose. You're hugging into center, you're rounding into the spine, you're connecting to the core as the arms reach up. Slowly, slowly inhale, coming back to standing, extend the arms all the way up and overhead. And exhale, we'll open out into our warrior 2. So spin on the ball of that back foot, turn the hips, the shoulders towards the side, lengthening your stance if you wish. Notice what this front knee is doing and make sure it's moving towards the back wall behind you. Arms reach out. You can always turn the palms up towards the sky. Sometimes it's really nice variation just to relax and release through the shoulders. So you're using more of the muscles of the spine to support your arms rather than the muscles of the arms and the shoulders. And settling in. One last breath. And then flip the front palm up. Inhale, reverse your warrior. And feeling a really nice stretch into the side body, into the left outer shoulder. And exhale, let's go for side angle, taking the elbow onto the knee. Inhale, right arm up to the sky or all the way up and over by the ear. Breathing. And taking one last breath. And gaze down towards the floor. Inhale, start to rise all the way up. Warrior 2, and we'll straighten out through the front leg. Front thigh gets a nice little release, extending through the left fingertips, extending outwards through the side body. Left hand down, inhale, right arm reaches up. Utthita Trikonasana. And you might stay here, or maybe taking that right arm back behind you towards your lower back. Maybe take a half bind. And really roll that right shoulder open, but relax through the left shoulder. Sometimes we allow our left shoulder to hike up towards our left ear. One last breath. Inhale, releasing the pose. We'll rise all the way back up to standing. Gaze down, inhale, rise all the way up. This time, sweep that right arm back behind you and go for any arm variation that you did on the other side. Interlace the fingers, squeeze the shoulder blades together, option number 1. Or taking that right arm up the back. Maybe nudge that elbow slightly closer in towards center line. Inhale, left arm reaches up to the sky. You might go towards the bind, you might go for a bind. Feel free to use a strap or anything that's going to support you. Lift the chest. Take a breath. You know where we're going, so bending into the front knee. Start to power forward, and you really need to use a lot of power here. You power forward, back leg gets lighter and lighter and lighter. You square off the hips, you square off the shoulders, warrior three. Takes a lot of core, a lot of balance, so feel free to take the hands out to the side or down onto the mat if you need to. One last breath. Slowly bending into the front standing leg, come up. Release the arms, hug that knee into the chest, and it should feel really nice just to release that shoulder stretch for a minute. Bending into the left knee, take the right knee over the left. Hands move through heart or left arm underneath right, wrapping up for eagle arms. Maybe double wrapping the legs. Finding your balance, and if you're a bit wobbly, that's fine. Keep a playful spirit. Maybe perching the eagle. I find it really hard to talk in this pose, so I'm just going to breathe instead. One last breath. And slowly, slowly releasing the pose. Releasing the arms, releasing the leg, and come to standing. Front of the mat, hands move through heart. Take a big breath in. And a big breath out. Just notice how the shoulders are feeling. If they feel a little bit different to when you first started your yoga class today. Notice how the mind is feeling. Notice your focus, notice your gaze inwards. And slowly opening through the eyes. On your next inhale, reach the arms all the way out and up to the sky. Exhale, hands move through heart center, hinging from the hips. We're going to make it down to the mat. Inhale, lengthen into the spine. Exhale, planting the hands down, stepping back, high plank. Exhale, on the count of 5, we're going to work our way all the way down to the mat. So bending into the elbows, notice if the elbows want to move out to the outer edges of the mat, keep them hugging in towards the torso. And slowly, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Sorry about that. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Place the hands underneath your forehead and just sway the hips a little bit from side to side, releasing the lower back, and breathe. We're going to go through a few rounds of locust pose, and then we're going to get into a really nice juicy shoulder opener on our mat. So slowly interlace the fingers back behind you. You might keep the legs hips at a distance apart or the legs together. Just notice what happens when you do either or, and whatever allows you to find a little bit more space and not dumping any weight into the lower back. Interlace the fingers, press the hands back behind you, squeeze the shoulder blades, and inhale, start to lift up through the chest. Maybe stay here or start to lift the legs. And spread through the toes and breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly, slowly lower down. Placing the hands underneath the forehead. Swaying the hips from side to side, just breathing. And let's go for second round. Interlace the fingers back behind you again. See if you can take the other thumb on top, and that just allows you to find a different stretch in the shoulders. Inhale, start to lift the chest. Maybe stay here or lift the legs and breathe. For 3, squeeze the legs together a little bit more. Lift the chest a little bit higher. And 2. And 1. Slowly, slowly release. And forehead into the hands. And swaying the hips. And feel free to go for a locust pose. You might go into a bow pose, whatever suits you. And we're going to do it twice as well. So you might Go for one foot first and lift the chest. Maybe go for the other foot. You might go for both. So you bend into the knees, take holds of the feet or the ankles. If you can work with flexed feet in your range of flexibility, please do so. And then from here, forehead to the mat. Inhale, start to lift up through the chest, peeling the chest off the mat. Kicking the feet into the hands, and feel free to go for another locust as well. And slowly start to lift for 3 and 2. You might rock a little bit forward and back, tight side to side. And slowly release. Forehead to the mat. Breathe. Let's go for one final round, locust or bow pose. Your choice, your practice. Slowly placing the hands onto the feet. Inhale, start to lift up through the chest. Maybe kicking the feet into the hands, lifting the knees. For 5, 4, 3, 2, lift the chest a little bit higher. And 1, release. And from here, just take your right arm out to the side. And I'm going to place the palm of the hand and the arm down onto the mat. If you know you've got really tight shoulders, you might go for a variation where you take the hand slightly further down towards the hip. If you know you've got really open shoulders, you take it diagonally out from the shoulder. Slowly, slowly roll down. And you take your arm out and just notice for a minute. And place the left hand underneath the left shoulder. The right ear moves towards the mat. You bend into the left knee. And we're going to roll all the way over towards the right side. Pressing the sole of that left foot down into the floor if you can. You might stay here. You might take a block for your forehead. Maybe extending the left arm up to the sky. Maybe planting the sole of that right foot down onto the earth. You might even interlace the fingers back behind you, lifting up through the chest. Whatever variation that's going to suit you, listen to your body, listen to your shoulder and what it's telling you. And most importantly, start to breathe into this area, inviting in a lot of space, a lot of breath. And start to slow the breath down. And take one last breath. And slowly releasing the pose, coming back to center. Releasing, we'll go for the opposite side. This time left arm sneaks out. And planting the right hand underneath the shoulder, we start to roll onto the left shoulder, placing the sole of that right foot down onto the earth. Whichever variation, you might keep that left leg extended, you might take that right arm, reach it all the way up to the sky, try and do the same that you did on the other side. You might interlace the fingers back behind you, lift up a little bit through the shoulders, and breathe. Slowing down the exhales, inviting in the inhales to create more space and energy. Exhales really ground you. And taking one last breath, full inhale. And exhale, slowly, slowly release back. And planting the hands underneath the shoulders, we're going to take one final cobra or upward facing dog. It's normally a pose that we flow through quite a lot. We only hold it for 1 breath. So we're going to hold it for 3 breaths. Placing the hands underneath the shoulders. And start to lift up through the chest. You might come into a cobra, hugging the elbows in towards you, or pressing through the arms, straightening out through the arms, coming onto the tops of the feet. You might even lift the knees and lift the chest. For 3, breathing. And 2. And 1, don't collapse to the shoulders. And then exhale, just send the hips slowly and mindfully back towards the heels. We'll come into a child's pose. And just taking a few breaths. You might even take the arms back behind you. Just use this child's pose to stretch out the back. And slowly, slowly coming up to a kneeling position, we'll extend the legs out in front of you. And go for one final Paschimottanasana, forward fold. Inhale, extend both arms all the way up to the sky. Slight bend into the knees if you need to. And then folding forward, hinging from the hips, the hands either side of the legs. Maybe take hold of the feet or the ankles. As you inhale, you lengthen. As you exhale, you fold. Just allow yourself to really melt and surrender into this pose. Noticing the stretch into the back of the legs. Noticing the stretch into the lower back and the middle back. And taking one last full inhale. One last deep exhale. And slowly we'll come up to a seat. Placing the soles of the feet down to the floor, hips move towards the heels, extend the arms all the way out, and we'll roll down slowly onto our backs, vertebrae by vertebrae. And the knees hug into the chest once you get there. And let's go for one final supine twist to finish off today. It's extending the knees all the way over towards the left side of the mat, extending the right arm out. You might take that left hand onto the right knee and just guide that knee closer down towards you. And taking a few more breaths. And just notice if that right shoulder wants to lift off the mat. Try and allow gravity just to take over in the pose. And it might not touch the floor, and that's absolutely fine. As long as we're feeling a stretch into the shoulder, into the chest. One last breath. And exhale, slowly hug both knees into the chest. And we'll go for the opposite side. The knees drop all the way over to the right side, extending left arm out. Gentle supine twist. Allow the left shoulder to soften. Allow yourself to find softness into the chest, into the jaw, and spaces behind the eyelids, relaxing the forehead. Relaxing the muscles of the back, relaxing the hips, the ankles, the toes. And slowly both knees hug back to center. And we'll come into our final resting pose, Shavasana. Extend through the right leg, extend through the left leg, and turn both palms up to face the sky. And just do a full body scan and notice if there's any areas of the body that you can just release even further in towards the mat. The back of the head, the neck, the shoulders, the hips, and the feet. Relaxing the fingers, relaxing the toes, and just allow yourself to move into the sweet surrender of this Shavasana. Slowly just start to deepen into the breath. Bringing your awareness back, wiggling the fingers and the toes. On your next inhale, reach the arms all the way up but no head. Maybe drawing the legs together. And exhale, hug both knees into the chest. And we'll rock all the way over to our right side. Coming into a fetal position. Placing the left hand down into the earth. And slowly peeling yourself off the mat. We'll come to a comfortable seated position, maybe keeping your eyes closed. And take your hands through heart center. Inhale, lift through the chest, drop the shoulders. Exhale, bowing your chin towards your chest. And just give yourself some gratitude for the time that you've spent on your yoga mats today, nourishing your mind, your bodies, taking some time out for you, and allowing the weight of the world to release from your shoulders, your chest, upper back. Namaste. And thank you so much for practicing with me today. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know how you get on in the comments below. And thank you all.